Hello and welcome. I'm Tex. I'm one of the founders and contributors of the thinkingmomsrevolution.com. Thinking Moms Revolution, for those of you who may not know, is an online resource consisting of 23 moms and one dad who came together for the purposes of sharing information and offering support to one another. Most of us are autism parents, but a few of us have children with related diagnoses. Mainstream medicine has failed many of us in treating our children's various illnesses, and so we have turned to alternative medicine and naturopathies as a means of healing our children and ourselves. Today, I am in the trenches with an amazing thinking mom, Beth Lambert. Beth is an author, a philanthropist, and an advocate for natural healing and healthy lifestyle choices. Many of you have read her book, A Compromised Generation, The Epidemic of Chronic Illness in America's Children, and have found it to be both informative and inspirational. She currently has a big project in the works, and she will need each and every one of us to help her out with that. It could be a big opportunity for 10 lucky families as well. I'll let her tell you all about that herself later in the interview, but right now, it is with great pleasure that I welcome Beth Lambert today. Beth, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with me this morning.
Thank you, Tex. I'm so happy for the opportunity to talk to you today.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be part of the revolution. Who were you before you started the work you're doing now?
Well, in another life, I sort of started out actually working in the pharmaceutical industry and medical device industry. I was a consultant, so I worked for a variety of different kinds of healthcare companies. So I was kind of in the trenches in the pharmaceutical industry. And then I left that and became a teacher. And I, found that there was kind of an interesting phenomenon going on, in that we had lots of kids with learning disabilities and other kinds of challenges in the classroom, which I thought was unusual, but didn't really understand it at that point. And then after that, I became a mother myself. And when I became a mother, I started to understand why I was seeing more of these kinds of things in the classroom. And that was my own first child was affected with a whole host of symptoms that I didn't really understand. And sort of eluded a diagnosis. And so as I began to investigate that, I sort of came across the whole phenomenon of autism, ADHD, food allergies, chronic illnesses that were just sweeping through this country at a breathtaking rate. And so that's what led me into this world and got me started. And I sort of, slowly became educated on my own.
Now, your children are not on the autism spectrum, is that correct?
That's correct.
What kinds of issues did they have? What kinds of issues did they have, and how did you cross over into this world of helping kids and parents with dealing with autism?
Well, I had what I like to call an almost autism. My first child had a series of symptoms that included chronic constipation, sensory issues, behavioral issues, skin issues like eczema, tons of allergies and food allergies and environmental things going on. And it's the kind of thing that, I would bring her into the pediatrician, and the pediatrician would say, your child is on target, she's fine, she's totally normal. Not true. I ultimately ended up in the office of a Defeat Autism Now practitioner, because they were the only ones that could actually provide me with some answers. And it turns out that my daughter was affected by the same things that was affecting all children on the autism spectrum, and all children with food allergies, or all children with asthma. And what I learned is that there's sort of an underlying common denominator between these children, and that they're all affected by environmental factors, that it's different for each child and it results in different symptoms, but yet they're all part of the same story. And I had a second child who was showing the same symptoms. We caught them early enough that we began a recovery journey for both of them. And ultimately they're thriving, and I had a third child after my whole journey began, and he felt normally healthy with no real problems. So that's how I got into this whole thing, was the journey, the healing journey for my own children. And now they're doing great, which is I'm really grateful for.
Awesome. What kinds of interventions did you use to heal your kids?
Well, like I said, we started with an integrative physician, and we worked with an integrative dietitian. for a long time, so we changed our diet, and it wasn't just sort of a gluten-free, casein-free kind of diet. We did more comprehensive gut healing protocols. We did a variety of different diets, like the GAPS diet and the SCD and the body ecology diet. But we also did a lot of work with a homotoxicologist and naturopath, and we did a lot of natural health, and we changed everything in our environment. We made everything as close to natural and pure as possible.
Do you attribute those changes to why your third child has never really had any issues? Do you think that's why?
Absolutely. I did everything differently for my third child. So there were no medical interventions with my third child. There were my diet when I was pregnant was entirely different. My environment was so cleaned up. I mean, we took all Wi-Fi out of the house and cell phones, and we got rid of any kind of toxic exposures in the household. So I think that makes a huge difference. And but it's a learning, right? It's a learning that you have to go through.
Absolutely. It's definitely a journey.
Right.
So what brought you to write the book? How did that book come about?
Well, I was actually, when I had just my first child, I was in the middle of getting my master's degree in American Studies, believe it or not. And what I learned is that American culture was actually what was making our kids sick. I mean, that's kind of a broad generalization, but, I connected the dots for why this was happening so much in the industrialized world, why this was happening so much more in America than anywhere else. And it makes sense because it's our culture. There's a variety of things in our culture, from the pharmaceuticals we use, to the diet we eat, to the things we do, the kinds of leisure activities we do. There's very much a cultural component here. So as I was writing my master's thesis, it sort of exploded into a book. And I felt compelled also, once I was on the recovery journey with my daughter, to tell everybody, sort of wake everyone up and say, hey, you guys, look what's happening to our kids, and we have to pay attention to this. And the best part of it was that I felt that these were controllable. That this was not some genetic brain-based issue. This was not some genetic sentence we were given at the birth of my child. This was an environmentally derived illness or syndrome that she was experiencing. And so you can control that to some degree. You can work with that. And that to me is inspiring and hopeful. And I wanted that message to get out to as many people. I still want that message, obviously, to get out to as many people as possible.
Well, I think you are succeeding in your mission. I know a great number of mothers who would say that the book inspired them and gave them hope and furthered their journey on their path to helping their children and their families. That's got to feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. I every time I talk to a parent, I feel like everyone's at a different place in their journey. And some get it. Some have been in it for years and understand it and are still working. Some are just sort of in that beginning stage. But I think what we can all agree on is that there is great potential in all of our children. And it's just a matter of finding how we get to that and how do we make our children the best that they can be. And sometimes it's a matter of resources and, just getting in front of the right people and having the time and the financial resources to get to it, which is something I'm working on because I feel like we should all have the access to those kinds of things.
I agree, and I can't wait to talk to you more about that. But before we do, tell me a little bit about Epidemic Answers. Tell our viewers what Epidemic Answers is and how it came about, what the mission and the goals are.
Well, Epidemic Answers is a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c3. And we started in 2009, and we're basically a group of parents. We're just volunteer parents, literally, who are working for free, trying to spread the message, and we're actually trying to make a link because between sort of the world of autism and the rest of the world, because I think autism and the autism community stands on this island by itself, and the parents there are very well connected and very much supportive and helpful with one another. But then there's the rest of the world where they don't sort of see that autism is actually connected to all the other illnesses and signs and symptoms that children are experiencing. The soft signs, for instance, the kid who has chronic constipation or chronic diarrhea, the child who has eczema, or the child who has asthma, they're actually part of the autism epidemic. It's just that we don't understand it that way yet. And what I mean by that is that a child with autism has really sort of the most symptoms, the most signs and symptoms of being affected by their environment. A child with asthma who has just asthma or perhaps a learning disability, they're also affected by their environment, the same things that are causing autism. It's just that the degree to which they've been affected is different, sometimes less severe. So one of the messages of Epidemic Answers is to say, hey, you parents with a child with eczema or a learning disability or just asthma, you need to be paying attention to what's going on in the autism community, because we are all affected by the same thing. And your child is somebody who might have had autism. One more environmental trigger, one more sort of drop in the bucket, I like to say, could have led to a different outcome. So I like to think of Epidemic Answers as a unifying force, bringing all these parents together to educate them about what's happening to our children, but also to provide healing solutions. So one of the things that Epidemic Answers tries to do is help parents get on the recovery journey. So that means by connecting them to providers. So for instance, we have a provider database, a database of physicians and nurse practitioners, naturopaths, homeopaths, other people who are experienced in recovering children. And we like to let parents go onto our website and just look for themselves, see if there's a provider near them. We provide information about diets and about cleaning up your lifestyle and all the things that contribute to and can help a family recover a child. We're trying to find solutions. And we're also trying to push the envelope. So we want to know about new solutions. And we're constantly collecting stories of children who've recovered. And we ask the parents, well, what did you do? And what worked for you? And what didn't work? And we like to see ourselves as sort of a repository for all that information. So the more information we get, the better we do, and the more service we can provide to families who are trying to recover. That's sort of our mission.
It's an amazing resource. So somebody who wanted to get this information and have this, investigate this pool, this resource that you have, they would go to www.epidemicanswers.com. Is that the website?
Right. It's epidemicanswers.org. It's
Nice.
EPIDEMICANSWERS.org.
Beautiful.
So I like a visual. So
yes, absolutely. Now you're in Connecticut. It's amazing that you're in Connecticut and I'm in Texas, and we're able to do this today. I'm really excited about the technology. You are in Connecticut, and I assume Epidemic Answers is probably locally where you are reaching out to a lot of families. What are you doing in your local area through Epidemic Answers?
Well, we've done a lot of outreach work where we've gone out and spoke to groups. We've done talks on diet and cleaning up your environment, about nutrition. We've done small group gatherings in people's homes to talk to parents on a more intimate basis. It's a lot of outreach like that. We attend local fairs and green expos and try and just pass out pamphlets and information and raise awareness. So it's easier here because a lot of the parents that are working with us are located in Connecticut, but we do have some in other parts of the country. And that's what's amazing to me is, like, the technology allows parents from all over to connect. And so we're able to do things a little bit here and there in other places, but really we've been doing local outreach in Connecticut.
And so parents that are not in Connecticut, that are out in the rest of the nation, that want to be part of this or want to connect with you, there's room for them to be moving and shaking in their area as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we actually have parents in various parts of the country who do little things for us or do a lot for us. We have one woman who's in Indiana who all she does literally is posts our blogs. I mean, she doesn't write them. She just takes them from the author and puts them up on the internet. And that's her contribution, and she's, a piece of the machine. She's one person. And that's how we're operating is we take people and whatever assets they have to offer, and we plug them in. We find a place because, again, we're all volunteer, we're all parents, but we're all sort of aligned by the same mission.
I think it's amazing and so exciting that it's parents. You are all just parents, and you've come together to help other parents and to lend support and help and advocacy to other parents. I mean, that's what it's about, right?
Right, absolutely.
I just think it's incredible. It reminds me of Thinking Moms in that way. We were just a group of parents who were friends and started talking, and it's amazing how when parents join together, there's so much power in that. I think it's fantastic, Beth. So did Epidemic Answers came after the book, yes?
Right. I wrote the book, and even before it was published, I knew that the book wasn't going to be enough. I mean, I wrote this book, and I was so proud of myself. I said, look, I said everything I needed to say. It's in this book. That's great. But I just knew that wasn't going to be enough because people don't read books anymore. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's true. Nobody has time. And so I thought, all right, well, how else can I do this? I'm gonna set up a nonprofit and try and reach people through the internet. And then I'm at that stage, I mean, in the last year or so, where I said, that's not enough. I got to go bigger. I've got to get people's attention. And that's where that's led me to this documentary film project that I'm working on.
Let's talk about this. I'm so excited to talk about this project because I don't know, I just think it's a brilliant idea, Beth. tell us what you're up to, what you're trying to do, and what you need from the rest of us.
Okay, it's a really exciting project, and it's starting to take off, and it's really moving now. We are essentially going to take up to 10 families of children with autism, ADHD, asthma, chronic Lyme perhaps. We're looking for children with a chronic condition. And what we're going to do is provide them free healing and recovery services for the period of 18 months. So what we're looking at is giving them an integrative physician, an integrative dietitian, a naturopath, a homeopath, a holistic health coach, a biobiologist, which is somebody that comes in and looks at your house and says, all right, these things are toxic, these influences are bad. We're looking at providing them with organic whole foods and lessons for cooking. And I mean, literally, we're trying to throw everything at this family, the support and the love that they need to try and help recover their child.
Wait. Let me get this straight. You're going to cover all the doctors, all the medical expenses, all the what was that you said, a biobiologist?
A biobiologist,
okay.
Which is like an environmental consultant, basically.
Okay, so all of that plus the cost of the food and the supplements.
Right.
For 10 families for 18 months.
Yes, and this is a really inspirational part. We've already contracted with about 40 practitioners who are donating their time pro bono for these families. I mean, if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what does. I mean, these are people who are, who are sort of on the fringes because they're doing things that aren't conventional medicine. They're not, reimbursed by insurance. They are sort of taking risks in their own professional lives as well. And then they're taking another risk for these kids. I mean, these are practitioners who are donating their time. And then Epidemic Answers is going to take on the cost of all the supplements, all the food, all the organization, all the administration to basically run this program. And the reason why we're doing this is because, well, A, of course, we want to be able to recover kids. But more importantly than that, we think if we can take these stories of these kids, document it, and show through their visits to the physician's offices all the things that are biologically imbalanced in them, the toxicity in them, the imbalances in the gut, the imbalances in the neurotransmitter levels. And we show people that autism is a medical condition and it can be treated, and here's the evidence on film. And then we're able to show, in a way of providing an expose on the environmental factors contributing to autism and asthma and ADHD. We can show the world what these things are, rather than having the world think, as they do now, that these are brain-based genetic disorders that you can't do anything about. And that's just patently wrong, as you know. So if we can show it on film and show the kids get better, we think that that will just crack open people's perceptions of what autism is and what can be done for autism. And we're hoping to change the world. We're hoping to change the world for our kids with this film. And so it's a big project. It's a major project, and it's going to take a lot of money. But we really think it's critical to push things forward and to make a change for our kids.
It sounds like an incredible project. I'm just floored even thinking about it. So before you can even take applications for families or even start filming or anything else, you have to raise the money to do this, right?
Exactly. And we've already started. We've already been raising money, and we have a goal to start by December. We want to have $500,000 raised, and we have a ways to go on that. But as soon as we have the $500,000 raised, we can start taking applications to take families in. And to begin the journey with them. The total film cost will probably be more than that, close to $1 million. But we can start families as soon as we have the $500,000 raised. So what we're doing is, there's a lot of different initiatives we're trying. One of which is a grassroots fundraising initiative, which is basically I'm out there on the streets, basically asking people, do you have $5? Do you have $10 that you can just throw at this project? Because imagine if everybody that it's in your universe and you're connected to, if you ask them just to donate $5 or $10 to this project, we could recover 10 kids for $5. 10 kids for $10. I mean, it's a very little request, but it's a grassroots thing, and it requires people to spread the word, spread the message. So tapping your Facebook and your Twitter accounts and trying to get your friends and family involved in this. So I'm sending around a letter, basically a pitch, asking for support. And the way that people can donate, there's a couple ways. We have a website, epidemicanswers.org. You can go right on, there's a donate button. or you can go to epidemicanswers.org/donate. And you can use PayPal or a major credit card. You can also write a check and send. I can give you an address for that. It's P.O. Box 191 in West Simsbury, Connecticut. That's Simsbury, Connecticut, and the zip code is 06092. This is all on our website. So literally, if you have a credit card, you can just go right on PayPal, $5. I've been getting donations of all amounts. Yesterday, I just got one for $1,000 through PayPal, and then $5 ones are just amazing. People have no idea who they are, just throwing $5 at this, which to me is just such a great statement. You know, it means that we're going to do it together.
If everybody who was watching this video right now donated $5, that would probably put a dent in it a little bit for you, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that was sort of my, on our website, we have a blog, and I wrote a letter asking people basically to support this film. And the theory is if we had everybody who supports Thinking Moms donate $20, and anybody who supports the Canary Parties donates $10, and anybody who follows Deirdre Imus or Weston Price or Dr. Mercola, I mean, there's so many natural health people out there with lots of followers. If all of those people just donated a few dollars, it'd be funded like that. It would be over. It would be done. So all we really need to do is sort of shake those networks and get people to just make a commitment.
Absolutely. Once the money's raised, then you can start taking applications.
That's right.
That's right. So anybody out here who's watching, once those monies are raised, you can send your application in and have a chance at being a part of this, of having your child's medical expenses covered for 18 months. So I think it's in all of our best interests to get those monies raised so we can start getting people to apply and start helping families on their paths to recovery. I think it's incredible.
Exactly, exactly. And we've already had people, you know, asking for the application. And again, I can't release it until we're funded. I don't want to put this hope out there when we can't follow through. But really, if everybody who is interested in applying for this program just ask their own personal network and for a little bit of support, that's how we're going to get this funded. So I'm really excited about this. We're getting close. I can smell it. We're so close. And it's going to be exciting.
Another grassroots effort by parents, for parents.
Exactly. There's another part of this which is really exciting is that we have a director and producer on board, and her name is Mary Mazzio, and she is amazing. She's a former Olympian, former corporate lawyer. She's now a documentary filmmaker. She's an award-winning documentary filmmaker. She actually just released an amazing film. It's called The Apple Pushers, and it's about how there's a complete dearth of fruits and vegetables in inner-city New York. So she is sort of a woman who does a lot of films about social justice, and she is amazing. I mean, just amazing. She's going to knock this thing out of the ballpark. You know, once we get this thing funded, she's going to take it and run with it. So I'm so honored to have her on board and to have her backing this project.
Beth, how did you get connected to Mary Mazzio?
I called her. I sort of knew to call her through another director friend that I had met, but she really is somebody who's very open, and she's committed to again, social justice and to various causes. She wants to do good with her work. So I think she was ready to lend an ear to this one. And she herself is a mother, and she gets it. She understands what's going on, and she understands the importance of this film. And she also is very tuned into the environmental factors, and she understands that this is an opportunity to provide an expose on that as well. So I think that's an important part of having a director who's going to do the right thing with this job.
Excellent. Beth, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning today to meet with me and to share your story and the project and to let us know what's going on. I'm floored by your energy and your passion and your drive. I think you're such an inspiration. You're an incredible thinking mom. You have your own little revolution of your own going on, and I just appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you. Well, we're going to do this all together, right? So it's gonna take everybody working on this a little bit at a time. So we'll get there.
Yes, you will. I have no doubt. Again, thanks so much for taking time out and sharing everything with me today. For those of you watching, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to watch thinkingmomsrevolution.com and to be part of the revolution and to read the blogs and come back every day and support us the way that you do. Thank you all, and have a great day, Beth.
Thank you.